Hi everyone, welcome to Cook Vegan, and today I have Rachel Boon with me all the way from the UK, from Worthing, West Sussex, and she is a naturopath and herbalist. Now I hope I've said that right. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us and coming on Cook Vegan YouTube channel. Everyone, if you like what you're seeing, you like these interviews, we've got a lot more coming. So don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and do comment below, because if you have any questions, Rachel or myself will get back to you. I'm going to pass you over now to Rachel. Rachel, please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. I sound like, what was her name from Blind Date? What's your name, where you come from?
Cilla Black, yeah.
Cilla Black, that's it.
Hi guys, morning everyone. So I'm Rachel Boon, and I'm a naturopath and herbalist. And basically, a naturopath is a bit like a GP of the natural therapeutics field. So it's largely based on nutrition, hydrotherapy, natural lifestyle, and detoxification. So I'm a big component of juicing and fasting. And a herbalist is basically these guys. So I've got all my herbal tinctures lined up behind. So basically a herbalist treats a whole host of remedies, a whole host of issues. So it can be, herbalist will treat almost anything that's not an A&E consideration. So I often treat things like women's problems, fertility issues, skin conditions, respiratory complaints. I treat a lot of children and menopausal ladies, and I treat them using nature's bounty there of lovely organic or wild crafted plants that have been made into a tincture. And I've been practicing in my local community for 15 years, and I've been a vegan for 22 years. Scary, that makes me feel old.
So yeah, since you were 6, yeah?
Too kind, too kind. It's the veganism.
That's it, you see, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm actually 84.
yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So I've had a quick look at your website, and I've signed up for your newsletter. I've been stalking you on social media as well. So I love some of your posts, and I love your positivity and the energy that you put out there, and also some of the testimonials from people. And I know you've just mentioned it, but I will say it again. So you treat elderly patients, you treat menopause. Of course, you're not elderly if you're going through menopause. You treat and young kids as young as 3, I saw as well.
And babies, breastfed babies I treat, because I can treat the mums and then they get the herbs through the breast milk.
Amazing, amazing. And are these are the herbal tinctures that you're talking about? Tell us the difference between those and essential oils.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll just grab one. So let's grab some. There we go. So we've got some cat mint there. Have to keep that cupboard shut a lot of the time, or else my cat does try and get in there. So basically, tinctures, alcoholic extracts of the herb. So the whole herb would have been picked and then soaked in an alcohol, normally between 40, 70, or sometimes 90% proof, depending on whether it's a above ground part, a below ground part, or if it's a resin that needs to be extracted. And then you soak the whole herb in the alcohol for about 2 weeks, and then you throw away the plant.
And do you make this yourself?
I don't make these myself, only because with 2 kids, 2 school-age kids, and I'm self-employed. Yeah. I don't have the time, but there's plenty of
there's only so much we can do in the day. I mean, let's face it.
I know. I prioritise the helping people in clinic and via virtual consultations, and I buy my herbs from a lovely company in North Wales that's herbalist owned and run. It's called Avicenna, and
I'm all up for that. I'm all up for subcontracting.
Yeah, absolutely. And so so tinctures are alcoholic extracts of herbs. Most people will have taken a tincture if they've ever taken echinacea drops in the winter to help ward off or shorten the duration of colds. But essential oils, they're absolutely very strong concentrated extracts of a herb. And in the UK, I don't think it's legal, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's legal to take essential oils internally, whereas tinctures, of course, can be taken internally.
I don't know. We had someone on Cook Vegan on the Facebook group who was from doTERRA.
Oh yes.
And those, and those can be. So I don't know. I know that in Cyprus they can promote it as such and even use it in cooking. So I imagine in Europe it's the same. But yeah. I don't know. I have no idea about the law. But it's quite interesting anyway. So so tell us a little bit about the tinctures. You can digest them. Can you also use them topically, or is it only for?
It's mainly internal. So people would come to see me and they'd get a mixture of tinctures. So they get anything between 5 and 8 different tinctures in a bottle, especially for them. So no 2 people ever get the same prescription. It's very bespoke depending on their diet, their lifestyle. their energy, and I'm also an Ayurvedic. Yeah, and what their needs. And I'm also Ayurvedic. I'm trained in Western herbal medicine, but we learned from the Ayurvedic energetics and the TCM energetics. So I also use those.
Wow.
So people's doshas, I try and balance people's doshas through the tinctures as well when I'm dispensing. And people will take these just off the spoon 3 times a day. They're very easy. You don't have to like boil a scorpion for an hour in your kitchen, make your house smell weird or anything. Most of the people I treat are professional women between the ages of 20 and 60 who are cash rich, time poor. They want something that's easy to take and that they're going to feel the results from. So I can't be asking people to boil up loads of stuff for hours on end. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be realistic.
And they don't have to put it with their food or anything. They can just
take it
with a spoon.
Yeah, I mean, you can use tinctures sometimes. You can apply them to, like, my little boy sometimes gets cold sores. Like if he gets really, really run down, too much sun, a couple of times a year, he might get a little cold sore pop up.
Yeah.
And so you just put a bit of calendula tincture, so marigold, or a bit of St. John's wort tincture on a cotton wool bud, and you can dab it on topically. So you can have topical use for tinctures as well. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Yeah. I love this. And so tell us a bit, I mean, I'm talking to you and I've already looked at your website. And your CV just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. I'm so intrigued. It's fascinating. So tell us a little bit about juicing and the benefits of juicing, because obviously, and also give us some tips, because this is cooked vegan. So people want to know maybe not what they have to cook, but what they can make or what they can maybe use in their cooking or their juices that's maybe super healthy for them, give them energy, and especially now, what is good for their immunity, really.
Absolutely. So basically, I've always been a fan of juice cleansing myself. So I was doing it myself, and then one of my friends wanted to go on a juice detox retreat, and she had 3 kids and a puppy, 3 kids under 8 and a puppy. So I didn't have the time to go away to a juice detox retreat. And she said, "Oh, Rach, you're good at juicing. Could you just do me like a 5-day cleanse?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. No problem. I'll do you the same one as me." And then a few of my patients got wind of it, and they're like, "Rachel, can you do me and my mum? Could you do a 5-day cleanse for me with the juicing?" And so a business was organically born. And so I've got a little cottage industry juicing business, which is 0 waste. We use lots of bottles, and it's all organic, locally grown fruit and veg, and it is all cold pressed. Because a lot of people, I don't know about you, Farah, but I've heard a lot of people go, "Oh, juicing, it's so full of sugar. Where's the fiber?" You know, you get all of this. And I would say, I mean, I'm sure you've had it too, but there's a massive difference between organic cold pressed juice and Sunny D. I mean, you're almost talking different food families, right?
I mean, it could not be further from, I mean, and I teach my kids that. And just, I mean, I tell people just to understand how, okay, maybe my children have a slightly cleaner diet than a lot of others, but, okay, but they're kids, they still eat, you know, very varied diet. And, you know, we might go to a birthday party and they take those little cartons that are given out. And I cannot even tell you how many times my kids have insisted on trying these and just stood there and gone, projectile vomiting.
Really?
I cannot tell you how many times it's happened. And I'm like, and now they know, and they see it, and they call it birthday juice, and they go, no, we don't drink birthday juice. So everything, and because that is the rubbish that is in it. It's water with concentrated sugar, colorant, and rubbish. And yes, maybe my children, they don't have sensitive stomachs, but they have cleaner guts because they're not used to it, and their body literally that quickly will just throw it out. And that's how it is meant to be. It's not that my kids are weird because they can't digest that. They shouldn't, their gut shouldn't be used to digest it. But we come home and they will make their own juices and throw everything in, and we'll cold press them, and they can drink, you know, jugs of them, and they're just fine because that is pure whole, and it is whole food. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, juicing isn't whole food." That's the other thing as well, and that you're not getting the fiber. But as you've just rightly said, when you cold press it, you do get that fiber, and it's easier to digest, and you're allowing your body that little time also to recover. So anyway, I'll let you talk about this more. This is your thing.
Well, the fiber thing is a big bugbear of mine because it's just not true. Because there's 2 types of fiber. There's insoluble fiber and soluble fiber. So when you're making a juice, you're pushing your apples and carrots and ginger through the fruit or veg tube. The insoluble fiber, the pith, goes into the pith bin, right? And then the juice, which is full of all those little bits, contains soluble fiber. So juices, when people say juices don't contain fiber, I just say that that's not true. They do contain soluble fiber. That's what the tiny little bits are. And soluble fiber is super important because when we consume it, it forms like a sort of viscous gel that helps when it goes through our colon, you know, when it passes through our large intestine, it sort of acts as an intestinal broom. So it's very good for helping keeping us nice and regular and helping clean out our bowel. So it's really important. And you get soluble fiber when you juice things like, pectin is a form of soluble fiber. Inulin is a form of soluble fiber. You've probably heard of those things. But pectin is very rich in the citrus, in parsnips and apples and pears, which, as we all know, they're the juice, they're the fruit and veg that us keen juicers use all the time. They're the juicer's friends, if you like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what happens with things like spinach, like leafy greens?
Yeah, so I'm a huge proponent of cold press juicing, but I always say to people as well, try and make it at least 50% vegetable based, and particularly at this time of the year, well, any time of the year really. Most of us are, certainly in the Western world, we're deficient in the mineral magnesium, which is found in really good quality soils. And of course, as the quality of soil has decreased, unfortunately, over the years with intensive agriculture, a lot of us are left with subclinical magnesium deficiency. So the best way to remedy this is to eat lots of leafy greens and vary them. Our microbiome likes variety. Also to have lots of nuts, lots of seeds, lots of raw chocolate, lots of edamame beans, which are soybeans. So I say to people, eat chocolate, just make sure it's dark or raw chocolate. And also, so when you're juicing, I would always say, try and make it at least 50% veg, maybe more, but you know, when you start juicing, you might want to do 50-50. And then when you get more experience at juicing, you might do, like my juices are probably more 70-30.
And when your palate gets more used to it, yeah.
Oh, completely. Like your kids' palate with the birthday juice cartons, their palate is not used to it and their body rejects it. It's probably because their blood sugar levels are spiking because that juice would have been pasteurized to increase the shelf life. And that, you know, that you could almost give those children those birthday juices with a shot of insulin, because that's essentially what they'll need. That's how much of a shock it is to their pancreas. Anyway, back to cold press juicing. Cold press juicing is a brilliant way to get leafy greens down. People, like a lot of people I know are like collard greens, kale, romaine lettuce. Oh, I wouldn't touch any of that. But if you put it in a nice juice with some pineapple, some ginger, some parsley.
Lemon and ginger is always my go-to on juices, and then it hides all the other flavors that may be more savory or earthy that you don't want.
Completely, yeah. I freak out. You know, most people freak out when they run out of milk and bread. In my house, I freak out when I run out of ginger. Yeah,
that's like us. And lemon.
Yeah, I know. And with the lemons, I don't know about you, but I always say to people, put the whole lemon in. If you've got organic unwaxed lemons, put the whole lemon in through the juicer, because there's lots of pectin in the pith of lemon. So you want to make the most of that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I tend to I don't peel it, but I just grate off maybe because I'm a bit worried as well if it's not. As you said, it has to be organic and unwaxed. So I don't know sometimes the ones we get. So I just kind of grate it off. So the pith is still there, but not the wax.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then also I always find, well, that's my tip to you viewers, to put in the ginger and the lemon in between, kind of sandwich it between the apple, let's say, so that you make sure you get as much out of it as possible.
Totally. And on the sandwiching front, you're right. You've made me think. And with people's juices, obviously I've got a Swanko de Posh juicer. In fact, I've got 3. I probably should get out more. I've got 3 juicers. But if you've got sort of a slightly less expensive juicer, like a centrifugal juicer, it's really important that you sandwich your greens, because else you're going to be putting in this lovely organic spinach or organic
and it's just going to come out
and you'll be like, whoa, I've got a teaspoonful of juice and that bag of kale cost me £2 or whatever. So definitely, you know, put your apples and then sandwich and squash down the parsley, the spinach, the kale, whichever, or the little gem lettuce, whatever you're juicing. If you've got a centrifugal juicer, if you've got a good juicer, like a higher end juicer, like I've got an industrial juicer, I've got an industrial juicer, a cold press juicer, and I've got a centrifugal juicer as well, because different things press better in different juices. You can imagine what my kitchen looks like after.
Well, you know what? This is your business. So, I mean, if you don't have it, who's going to have that? So,
Yeah. And another tip I would say for cook vegan readers is if you really like, I really want to make sure that I have juice for breakfast every day this week, my top tip is to wash your fruit and veg the night before and put it in the colander or put it in a tub ready. So then in the morning when you come down and you're rubbing your eyes, all you have to do is get that colander or that tub out of the fridge and just go press your juice. So you're like an automaton. You don't even have to think about it. It's all ready to go. Do it the night before, because in the morning, if you can talk yourself out, if you can talk yourself out of it in the morning, you know, before you know it, you're going to be waxing off that Weetabix and
exactly. Or just have a piece of toast. It's quicker, and
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And I would say that juices and smoothies are some of the highest per mouthful, are some of the highest nutrient yield foods that you can get. And I do strongly dispute the fact that they're whole foods, because smoothies are whole foods. You're just blending them, and juices, all you're taking away is the insoluble fiber. And that insoluble fiber, do you know what it does in your gut? It just passes through you anyway. It doesn't contain any vitamins or minerals. So you're just missing out on the bulk.
That is so interesting. And so I've got a few questions here that I want to get in. So what would you say if someone's juicing, okay, you said about the 50-50 and then going a bit more with veg as opposed to just concentrating on the fruit. But what would you say are some of the best ingredients if somebody really wants to have that bit more energy, kick a cold or whatever, or just not feel so run down? What would you say is, you know, a must? Put that in your juice.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the first one. So for juicing for energy, I would say you definitely want to get some beetroot in there, and you definitely want to get some pineapple in there.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, right, beetroot. Now, beetroot is a tough one because a lot of people, you know, maybe they like beetroot, maybe not, but it's a very, very earthy taste. I mean, you know, you can almost sometimes taste that soil that it's come out of. And some people love it, some people are not so keen. And some people, it's different as well when it's cooked. When it's raw, it's a completely different texture, different flavor. And so people have it with carrots with a bit of ginger. But I still personally, and I love beetroot, but sometimes in juices, I still think that that's too much. And a pure beetroot juice, if I'm honest, I actually was sick once. It's just so earthy. I just felt like I was digging into a bit of soil. So what would be your advice? So beetroot, obviously amazing. You can see the vibrant color. We are meant to be eating these. How is the best way to drink a beetroot, not eat, drink a beetroot?
Okay, so one of the juices I put together on the Boon Juice Cleanse, my little cottage juicing business, I put together beetroot, so be like 2 medium beetroots, half a pineapple. Obviously you top and tail the pineapple and you take the skin off, because who wants to put that skin through an industrial juicer? There's no real goodness in it. But the core of the pineapple contains the most bromelain, the most digestive enzymes, so you always want to juice the core of the pineapple. And so I would do 2 beetroot, half a skinned pineapple, and then I would do 2 oranges. But you peel your oranges. I know with lemons you put the whole one in, but whole oranges juice, the pith is not great. It's a bit of very bitter taste. It's not so nice. So peel 2 oranges, and then a squeeze of lime. And do you know what? That tastes like fruit pastels from most British kids' childhood. I don't know. Do you get them in Cyprus?
I don't eat them. I haven't seen them in a long time. But but I do remember them as a kid. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's a nice way to get beetroot down, people.
I love this recipe. What a great idea. Oh my goodness. Amazing.
And the beetroot contains a whole host of nutrients. It's very rich in iron. It's very rich in it's rich in potassium. It's also got nitrites in that are actually really good for our heart health. So they're good for helping normalize blood pressure. So beetroots are like a real athlete's juice. And obviously a lot of women, I treat a lot of menstruating women, a lot of menopausal women who could have subclinical iron deficiencies. And so beetroot's a great way of boosting your iron, and you could always sneak a little bit of spinach in there as well. So with the orange next to the spinach, obviously vitamin C helps the absorption of plant-based non-heme iron in the spinach. So that would be another way to maximize the iron absorption from that juice. So that's a good energy juice. And I think you asked about—
And a lot of people do ask that on Cook Vegan. They've asked on our Facebook group a lot, like, what can we do for our iron? So yeah, that's a really good tip. Yeah.
The beetroot and spinach down, but always try and have it with something vitamin C. So either with some berries, some orange, some citrus, that kind of thing would be a good, or some peas even, you know. Yeah, I never juice peas though, I have to say. But yeah, and you said about an immunity.
Yes, and immunity. Like what would you say? Either juicing or even eating, like because obviously you've been vegan for a long time. You 22 years, you said. Amazing. So what would you say is good for us now to, you know, try and and combat, because obviously everyone's so afraid of coronavirus, and it's also the flu season regardless. So what would you say is good for us to have now, or maybe put in our regular everyday cooking for our immunity?
Okay, well, I'll start with the juice and then I'll go on to the food, if that's okay. So juice wise, you want to get as much ginger down you as absolutely possible. So juice is a great vehicle for that, as you know.
I'm all there. I'm already sold.
Yeah. And obviously citrus. So I make a lovely a juice for myself and for my cleansers on the Boon Juice Cleanse. And it's basically carrot. It's full of vitamin A, which is good for your immune system, or beta carotene in the
and your eyes, isn't it? And your eyesight.
Absolutely. And which is interesting, because when you cut a carrot in half, it actually looks like your eye.
I know, amazing.
We call that, us geeks call that the doctrine of signatures, where what you're using to treat something looks like what you're treating.
Well, we'll digress now, but yeah, walnuts for brain, broccoli for your lungs.
Yeah.
So many.
Celery for your bones. Celery looks like legs, doesn't it? Yeah.
Amazing.
Tomatoes for your heart, with the chambers of the tomatoes in your heart. That's another one. But yeah, so so the immune juice that I love and that my cleansers love is carrot. So it's about 5 carrots, 3 apples, a nub of ginger. So like a 2 times 2 centimeter nub of ginger. You or I would just go, yeah, chuck it in. You wouldn't bother measuring it.
Half of it, right? You're going in.
That's it. No such thing as too much ginger. And also just some fresh turmeric root, which you can get from most organic wholesalers. I get mine from our lovely the farm that supplies our they import it organically and they supply me. So you get it in Sainsbury's in the UK, actually, just organic turmeric root, and you would put about a 3 centimeter root in, so it's probably about the size of your baby finger. So you've got your carrot, you've got your apple, you've got your ginger, you've got your turmeric root, and then I would put in a whole lemon, whole organic unwaxed lemon, and then I'd put in a 1 whole orange, but I would take the peel off the orange. And that bad boy, I defy a virus or cough or cold to raise its ugly head when you've had a few of those.
Oh, amazing, amazing. And for those who can't find, because I know Cyprus is not easy to get turmeric root, unfortunately, at least that I found. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, and anybody who's watching anywhere else in the world as well. But I have turmeric powder every day, at least a 1/4 teaspoon. So I guess someone, if they couldn't, you could always just buy in a bit of the powder, mix it in with the juice, and go with that.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Or put it in hummus is a good vehicle for turmeric.
I
often just stir powdered turmeric. If I'm not having a turmeric juice, I'll stir in my powdered turmeric into my hummus, and then I'll add some like linseed oil or something, because being vegan, obviously your long chain fatty acids are very important. So yeah, if you can have them in a yummy hummus, that's a great way. It's an easy, tasty way of doing it.
And oh my goodness, I just have so many questions now. Okay, all right. So how long would you say is what is the ultimate? And don't tell me a month to do a juice cleanse. So if someone, I mean, I know it completely depends what they want to get out of it. I know some people might even do it for weight loss, some do it for their energy, some do it to knock a cold, some do it for acne, some, whatever. There's a whole array of things, or skin conditions. But what is the ultimate time, would you say, for someone who hasn't juiced before to try it out to see that it really works?
That's quite a hard one, actually, because it, as you say, it all depends on their health leading up to the juice cleanse. I mean, I've got some juice cleansers that do it with me. I do a 5-day juice cleanse 4 times a year, just as a nice reset. Just to reboot my my eating habits. It just sort of resets my digestion. Afterwards, you don't want any rubbish for ages, so that's quite nice too. So I do one 4 times a year, and so do lots of my clients who are regular juice cleansers. But say you're somebody who has like the standard American diet, maybe a bottle of wine a night, has a double espresso that starts the day, eats 3 meals that contain meat, gluten and eggs, then you'd want to be very careful going. You wouldn't want to go into a juice cleanse overnight where you're just drinking juices. You'd have to do like a pre-cleanse period. So depending how healthy you are, I recommend normally at least a week. With my patients, I say always a week. In terms of the long, I tend to do a 5-day cleanse because it's workable. People, working mums with kids can do it. You can take your juices into work. I've traveled up into London and done public speaking all day on juice. It's fine. You can swing it. If it was any longer, I don't know. I think you might have to go to like a retreat environment to do it. But some people have done, good old Jason Vale, the juice master. with his 28-day juice cleanse. You know, some people do it for 28 days. One of my friends who lives down the road, her husband, he had reflux, he was on tablets for it, and he did a 28-day juice cleanse, and he's not taken the tablets since. It's really reset the digestive system. Yeah, so it really does depend on what you're looking for, what your aims are, and how healthy you are going into the cleanse. So there's not really a one size fits all, unfortunately.
Yeah, true. Sorry, yeah. No, I would say that as well, because I also try and cheat. I'm not as good as you. I'm not 4 times a year, but I would say at least a couple of times a year I'll do a bit of a cleanse to reset, even though my diet is pretty healthy. But you know, we all, and okay, you know, we're not saying something. I love my bit of wine here and there, and definitely my chocolate's good, as you said. Chocolate's good for us. So but yeah, 5 days is very doable. And to be honest, even if you feel because you do feel hungry, you know, it is a change. You're not eating something solids, but even if you do, it's then easy to be like, oh, I've only got 4 days left, I've only got 3 days, and then you get used to it and you're okay. 7 days you can do, I've done that as well, but it is that push, that more, you know, and 3 days is just so easy that it's fine, but you don't necessarily get all the benefits out of it. So you might as well do 5. But I would agree, if there's someone, if you don't have an already healthy diet, then I know loads of people who've tried and they're like, oh, I got stomach cramps and this, and they're like, well, of course you did. The same thing with going vegan. You know, if you go vegan overnight and you've, you know, been eating pizzas and steaks, yeah, you're gonna feel a bit funny.
Yeah. All that fiber, if you were to go vegan like overnight from being a bit of a cheese or a meat, if you were somebody who previously enjoyed lots of cheese, lots of meat, lots of yogurt, and you went vegan overnight, because of course cheese, meat, eggs, no animal product contains any fiber at all. A lot of people don't know that. And so if you've got a very animal product heavy diet and then you went vegan overnight, obviously all the fiber and all the fruit and veg might be a bit of a shock to your system, and you might suffer with upwards and downwards flatulence that might be a bit uncomfortable for a few days. So I think slow and steady is the way to go.
I like that. I really like that advice. Perfect. So we're gonna close now and thank everyone who has been watching this. Rachel, I know that people can find you, they don't have to just be in the UK in your area. They can also, you've got clients all over the world, they can find you online, and you do online consultations as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've always done them, and then since COVID I've done them a lot, and some people actually prefer it because they can sit there in their pajamas with breastfeeding in their comfort of their own home. So yeah, It's a pleasure to offer that to people all over the world, apart from Canada and America, which I don't think I'm insured for, sadly. Sorry, Canadians and Americans, but everywhere else in the world I've got patients in Holland, in France, in Scotland. Yeah,
amazing. So they can find you online, have a consultation with you online. Perfect. And they can make their own juices and also buy their own tinctures from wherever they are, and you can help them along with most ailments, let's say. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us on Cook Vegan. I've really appreciated this. Namaste. Thank you. And I will definitely be looking forward to seeing you again soon. Hopefully in Cyprus soon, you'll be visiting. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed seeing Rachel Boon all the way from the UK as a naturopath and herbalist with all her tips. If you want more information, do get in touch with her. Don't forget to subscribe to Cook Vegan YouTube channel. We're here waiting, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.